Billboard in Times Square.
If ever you have wanted to have a best-selling book, or maybe to be on a billboard in Times Square, and you have no idea how to go about doing that, well, I'm going to introduce you to somebody who has done exactly that. Diane Lampe.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here talking with you today, Bella.
Well, me too. I've been looking forward to this because it was just so glorious to be with you over, and it's only just last week that all this happened, which is why we're chatting now. But I loved hearing the excitement in your voice, and as you're there and going, wow. It's me up in Times Square. So, but before we get there, let's backtrack a little bit. So you have written or been a contributor or co-author to a couple of books, but let's focus on this one specifically. Why did you choose to, what brought you to the point where you said, I really need to write this book?
Well, that's an interesting question because I work with people all the time in their financial world and insurance world. And I seem to, if there's a pattern of people that are uber successful and then people that are just scraping by. And I realize that there's a lot of times that we're not taught these principles that, some of us just take for granted because we're able to either learn them from somebody or we're mentored by somebody. But a lot of times people just don't know. And I really felt that it was important to help them unravel that so that they could have a life that they've always dreamed of instead of being stuck in a zone and never get out of it.
Yeah. And the title of this is brilliant. I remember back and forth with a whole bunch of them. And when that one popped up, it was like tingles.
It just felt right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my goodness, this is it.
Okay. So went through the process and supported with some AI to help, but then completely editing everything. So you go through the process of writing the book. Tell us about that.
Well, this subject was so dear to my heart that for me, it was easier than just trying to write a book that is something that is not even unfamiliar to me and I don't believe. And so everything in here that I've either done or experienced in helping other people change those and unravel those things in their life, that when I was putting it together, I wanted to put it in a sequential, easy to learn, to understand that they could do it too. No matter where they are in whatever part of walk of their life they're in, they can make changes and they can do it now and put it in a pattern that it was simple and easy to follow.
It's easy.
Well, it's easy if you try, Dick.
All right, so we reach a point, then you have the manuscript done. Now you need a cover. What was that process like for you? So, because if you talk through for somebody who says, wow, I would love to be an Amazon bestseller and I would love to be on a billboard in Times Square, but they don't yet have a book. So we're at the point now where you at least have a manuscript. Most people will go, okay, I can probably get through to that point, but how on earth do I get a cover for a book to go onto Amazon?
Well, I really believe details matter. And the look of the book will really signify to me how you feel about it. And to me, I wanted the cover of the book to signify wealth and have that DNA look in there. And so I really took great care in putting it together. And I would tell anybody that's doing this, you've got to, if you're going to have your picture on the book, go get them professionally done so that be you on there, but be the best version of you, of how you want people to see you.
So you worked with a graphic designer to create the artwork for that. All right, so we're now at the point where we have a manuscript, we have a cover. How on earth do you go through the process of getting it onto Amazon?
Well, that's where coaching and mentorship comes in. because this was foreign to me. So that's why you want to have somebody coaching you that's been there and done that and understand, because we don't know what we don't know. And so if we lean on our own understanding, how are we going to get to the result that we want? So we have to seek out people that are way better in areas that we're weak and make sure that you take care to find the right person to do that for you.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're going to end up flatlining.
Yeah, one thing Diane didn't mention on that, though, is that we didn't do it for her. I'm one of those people who is very, very passionate about teaching people to fish.
You teach the ropes, meet people, teaching to fish.
Teaching to fish, you'll eat for a lifetime.
And so all the way through, it was like, okay, so the next bit is this. Go. So what was that process like for you, going through that and learning how to create a book on Amazon?
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm very teachable and coachable because I mentor and coach people all the time, every day, and in my business. And I am okay, and a lot of people aren't because they want it to be easy. But I'm glad that I had the coaching the way I did because it made me better and it made me stretch myself. Because I wanted to learn, I wanted to grow, I wanted to understand. And there's times though, okay, Bella, there was times you gave me stuff, I'm like, how am I going to do that? And within that time frame, I'm like, oh Lord, I'm running a business, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But I did it.
Exactly.
I did all of these things and I feel great about it.
Well, I don't want to say I told you so.
Exactly. Because also you set yourself a deadline, and I wasn't about to let you let yourself off the hook. And so we had that deadline to get the book to be a bestseller on Amazon. So talk us through the couple of weeks, and particularly keeping it secret as you go through, talk us through the couple of weeks leading up to the book launch week.
Yeah, that was interesting because Bella said, we're not telling anybody. Most people didn't even know I had been working on this book or even writing it. It was like secret sauce, didn't talk about it. And they go, what are you doing? I'm really busy. And this went on for quite a while, because I'd say it's been over, it's been a minute that I've been working on this. When we first had the concept, it's been about a year, I want to say. But it was kind of on and off. And then I just said, okay, I just got to get this done. I've got, when you put a date on something, you can get it done if you're really committed to it. And so I would work on it, and then Bella and I would talk. And then the thing I'm thankful for is that she didn't say, these are all the steps you're going to need to do. Because if she would have done that, I would have thrown my hands up and said, I'm not in.
Asking for them in advance. So can you tell me all the steps? And I go, just these ones first. Well, yeah, but what comes after? Just do these ones first.
I know.
Yeah.
Because I probably would have said, oh, Lord, this is a lot. Because as you know, I have a very busy schedule.
Yeah.
And I fit it in, but the way that she did it was like, okay, now do this. And then when we come back in coaching, but I had the stuff done. I didn't make excuses.
Yeah. And when Diane said that this took a year, it's kind of like somebody says, oh, I've been working on this book for 10 years.
Working on my book.
Well, actually, I was thinking of working on my book for a little bit this afternoon.
But I can't lie to him again and say I'm working on my book.
Have you really, or did you last pick it up 8.5 years ago? So the idea started about a year ago.
The idea started a year ago.
But
the name of the book.
But the actual work, this probably has been condensed into only about 3 months. And then the launch period, only about 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. And bit of a tip, if you're looking to get to be a number one on Amazon, think about it from the perspective. Let's say that it takes a lot more than this, but let's say it takes 1,000 books to get to be a bestseller on Amazon? Well, it's not just 1,000 books. If it's like 10 books a month for 100, but yeah, that's not going to do it. But if it's 1,000 books in the space of 5 minutes, the algorithm pays attention to that. So what we needed to do was to keep everything hush, 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 so that we could launch the book and tell everybody and get as many books as possible sold in as short a space of time as possible. But we kind of upped the ante a little bit in that we coincided this with a whole marketing and advertising thing in New York. So Diane, tell us what it was like to be on a billboard in Times Square when your book hits number 1 on Amazon.
Surreal. And it was crazy because when I got there, looking up, because up there and seeing myself, and it was so funny because I took a video at the time that I first saw it, as you suggested, and it was just it was one of the most memorable and I would say the word would be one of the greatest experiences ever. The whole process was a great experience because once you culminate, it's like having a baby. It's like, wow, look at all, it's like all the painstaking things that you work on. And then sometimes you want to throw your hands up and say, oh, I just can't, I don't want to do this today, but you do it anyway. And I'm so glad I did the work because I saw it up there. And it was a blast. But again, even the details of what was on the billboard, all the branding was right. Everything was on point. And I want to say that to everybody because it matters.
Details matter. All right.
And it was amazing. So thank you very much for all those pushes that you gave me.
You're very welcome. But you did the work when it came down to it. So now tell me what it was like for all of certainly your friends, but your colleagues and your clients during that week of the bestseller launch.
Well, they were the biggest cheerleaders. They were so excited and proud, and they couldn't wait to get the book. So when I did the launch, boom, they were all after it. And they were they weren't surprised. They were saying it's about time. Because I've been, I know they knew I had more in me because I have, as you said, I've done books before. But one of the last ones I did was with Napoleon Hill Foundation and coincided with them for a children's book. And it was that they were so proud and they enjoyed reading it because a lot of the stuff they've heard from me is mentoring and coaching them in the business. So like, oh yeah, we heard you say that a lot of times. Well, I just wrote it all down. Now the world has it.
Exactly. And so with this, we weren't looking to have this book give you a full-time income as an author so you can step away from what you're doing. What was the purpose of the book?
That's a great point because that wasn't the main motivation. The purpose was to reach more people out in the world that they can, and I put it on the cover, decode the secrets to building wealth, because everybody talks about working harder, do this, do that, but it isn't really all that. It's all in your mind. It's what's inside of you and some of the shifts that you have to make. And so I really wanted to talk about that. And I really wanted to share some of the things that I personally did to make the changes within myself too. So it wasn't just theory. I lived a lot of this.
And you've been transitioning and rebranding yourself and your business. And by the way, it looks absolutely awesome. I have to say, you've done a fabulous job. You've been doing all of that. How has this experience of the whole bestseller and the Billboard thing been pivotal for you personally and business-wise?
Well, it gives you a lot of credibility and on point that it's a different I don't know what the word would be, but I guess the word is credibility. that even though a lot of people know what they're talking about, a book really signifies it even more. Especially when it's #1 bestseller on Amazon, that really helps.
And by the way, I have to say, she didn't just get #1 on Amazon in one category. She got Amazon bestseller #1 in 2 categories and #2 in a 3rd category. So it was really amazing, and I'm just so proud of all the work you put in.
Well, I'm going to say this to you. I mean, I got to thank you for all that, because I never would have been able to pull this off. I'd still be thinking about my cover. So, and I think there's a lot of people out there that have a book in them, and that's as far as they get, because they get stuck.
No wonder it took him 7 years to write a book. You should write a book about all this.
Gonna write a book.
That's exactly right. And
when you got to get unstuck.
Yeah, when it came down to it, it was really that to have somebody there, obviously, yes, to guide you through the process, but also to do the work. And even though Diane's going, oh, it was so much work, it's like this is a powerhouse of a woman. I mean, she does like 2 weeks worth of people's work in 1 week, and she was doing this on top. So I have to hand it to you. You did a phenomenal job. So if you could leave one tip or suggestion or one emotion or feeling or something to somebody who either has a book that they've already written and hasn't really done anything with it to promote their career, or somebody who's going, yeah, that'd be kind of cool, but I wouldn't even know where to start, what would you leave them with?
Don't go it alone. Don't lean on your own understanding. Find the right coaching and mentoring, and make sure that you're willing to do the work and put in the time.
Yeah.
Because you've got to be consistent. You've got to keep moving forward, because if you rest and say, okay, well, I did this for like a week, and then 2 weeks later, you're still at the same point. That's why people have coaches. That's why they have mentors. Most successful people in the world have mentors and coaches. Why? Because it brings out the best in them. So it's important to bring out the best. Whoever listening right now, that would be my tip of what to do. Otherwise, I don't know if I would have this done. Thank you, Bella.
You're very welcome. But like I said, you did the work. So and I must say as well, I did have a lot of fun when she'd go, I don't know if I can do this. I must admit, it was actually really enjoyable from my perspective as well.
I don't know if I can do this.
Stan, I don't know if I can do this.
Diane, where can people find out more information about you and the book?
They can go to DianeLampe.com. That's DIANE, Lamp with an E at the end, LAMPE.com. And I'm right there.
And the name of the book?
Identifying Your Wealth Code DNA.
And it's actually really good.
And there's a quiz that goes with it. You're going to want to take that too. Find out where you are.
There is. So quickly, just tell people what the quiz is.
Well, there's going to be some questions to identify what category you kind of fall in. Like, who are you? And then in the book, we talk about that, how to change that too. So that's an added bonus that you can get. And that's free for the quiz. But get the book, get the bonus. It's great.
Super. And just circling back as well, Diane, that was also part of what we're talking about with the book, is that, yes, there's this wonderful quiz, but that's also part of your sales and marketing funnel.
Correct.
So
exactly.
So that's also part of what you built when you went through this process and still going through this process. And she's got all these wonderful masterminds and all sorts of bits and pieces. So you have to check her out. So, all right, my darling friend, thank you so much for sharing this moment with me.
Thank you for everything that you do.
My pleasure. My absolute pleasure. All right. Talk soon. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.